And here we go again, another practice officially in the books, but this time with the Washington Commanders and the New York Jets as well. Now, today's practice was very intriguing, a wet, rainy monsoon type of practice. No Aaron Rodgers. They sat him out just for, precautionary reasons. Didn't want him to slip on the field and maybe sustain an injury, as well as some other players not fully practicing as well, Brandon Coleman. But we did get to see Jaden Daniels and how he looked versus a defense that wasn't his own with the Commanders. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Garrett Wilson dominating a DB on the Commanders as well. Before we jump into the video and break down all the news, the notes, the highlights, the observations from today's joint practice, I need you guys to do me a favor and go give a follow to all of the Commanders and Jets media members on X right now, because I guarantee you, you will not regret it. One, and two, it felt like I was at practice today with the amount of coverage that they give you. So again, go give them a follow. And with that being said, let's kind of get into the video. So we're going to kind of be, quick firing through a lot of things here. So keep up to speed with me here. I do want to give a disclaimer that they are not allowed to record 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. There will be some of those plays in here, but again, it's not going to match up with the film in what I say in the video. So keep that in mind as you go through. And with that being said, let's dive in. So Brandon Coleman, the left tackle for the Commanders, was not practicing or not in pads at the very least today. He's been a guy that's been very good for them so far. Now, during one-on-ones, we actually saw Jaden Daniels do really well. For the most part, had a really nice ball to Dyami Brown. It was a one-handed catch as well. He's been having a really good camp so far. We also saw Bryson Tremaine had a really nice catch along the sideline. That one was for about 20-25 yards down the field. Garrett Wilson pretty much dominated the entirety of practice, including one-on-ones. Had a big game over Benjamin St-Juste. We also saw another big completion from Daniels to Zach Ertz up the seam during 7-on-7s. But once they got to those team 11-on-11s, that's when things kind of went downhill for the Commanders, and the Jets defense really showcased, how good they could be. Now, keep in mind for the Jets offense, no Aaron Rodgers, but we'll talk about the Jets offense in a minute. Will McDonald defensively was dominating one-on-ones versus offensive linemen in the majority of 11-on-11s as well, just doing a really good job getting around the edge and creating pressure on the quarterback. So Will McDonald was definitely one of the biggest standouts in my eyes. We saw some more 7-on-7s, a nice sideline catch by Allen Lazard. That was cool to see. Dyami Brown continuing to get some really good catches throughout camp. We had Terry McLaurin versus Sauce Gardner in a one-on-one as well, and it looked like Sauce Gardner probably came up with a little bit of not came up with it, but came up with the winning rep with that. What else do we see? Olu for the Jets. He looks like he could be good. He actually dominated an edge rusher for the Commanders. The beat reporters didn't even mention who it was, so I don't know who it was, but what I do know is Olu looks really good so far, and man, the future of that dude could be fun. Tyrod Taylor as a QB1 for the Jets looked outstanding. I mean, the connection that he had with Garrett Wilson was phenomenal, right? There was multiple plays early on in practice where Garrett Wilson just dominated Emmanuel Forbes. Now, I will say Forbes did have a couple of good reps overall in practice, had an interception, had a couple of PBUs, but for the most part of today's practice, Garrett Wilson was dominating him. I mean, he had a couple of big-time catches. Every single time that matchup was there, Tyrod Taylor would look at it immediately. Now, before we get any further into the video, guys, do me a big favor. Hit the like button, but more importantly, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It is free. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. And get this, we're going to be covering every single day of the Commanders and Jets training camp. But more importantly, we're going to be live streaming the Jets and Commanders game on my Twitch. If you want to watch it with me, kind of react to it, break down the film together, just go follow my Twitch. It will be in the description, the link, or you can find it at Matty Dubs with 3 S's. And lastly, we're going to be breaking down game day film with the All 22 Coaches film on this channel. If you guys want to keep up with that as well, you guys can follow the channel. With that being said, let's kind of get back into the video. So let's get back into that connection. We had a really good touchdown. Tyrod Taylor to Garrett Wilson. Beautiful connection at the pylon. Went right over Emmanuel Forbes for the win on that rep. We also saw Breece Hall running for a touchdown. Got around the edge. Got some really good blocks from Simpson and Smith as well. And we all know how good Breece Hall is. Once he gets that hole, good luck stopping him. We also saw another quick pass and out route to Garrett Wilson on the sideline. Dusted Emmanuel Forbes off the line. We also saw some McCutcheon. I believe his name is McCutcheon. He had a touchdown down the sideline, so that was cool to see. Let's see. Another Breece Hall touchdown team drills. We had Joe Tippmann with the good block that time. Austin Eckler was mainly returning kicks for Washington today, as well as some other guys. Let's see what else happened. Oh, Frankie Louvu and Dorrance Armstrong had some really good reps during these 11-on-11s. Had some good pressures. Again, they're not hitting the quarterback, so maybe a couple of those would be sacks. But again, we don't really know at the time. Let's see. What else can we really talk about here? I also want you guys to comment down below, in this preseason game, who are a couple of players that you're excited to see and why? I'm really curious to see. Give me one offensive player and one defensive player, depending on what team you are rooting for. We saw, Zach Ertz have a couple of big time plays, one on 4th down as well. Jaden Daniels threw a dart in between like 3 different defenders. Probably not the greatest pass in the world in terms of, the decision making, but Zach Ertz came up with a beautiful ball. We saw Cole Turner drop a ball, was slightly behind him from Marcus Mariota. Will McDonald had a sack on Jaden Daniels in team drills. Garrett Wilson again torching Benjamin St-Juste on another play. Then we had a little bit of a fight. Emmanuel Forbes got chippy there with a couple of different players on the other end. And there was one play specifically that the beat reporters were honing in on. And one play, Emmanuel Forbes got absolutely torched down the field and he just gave up, right? Head down, walk back to the sideline. After the guy didn't even catch the ball yet, right? The ball is in midair and he just gave up mid-play. So that one probably definitely hurt his stock for the coaches. I mean, you just can't do that, right? Yeah, at least show effort there. You can't just put your head down. That was, interesting to see. Mariota found Jamison Crowder over the middle of the field, who had a big gain. Another Breece Hall 20. Actually, no, we talked about that one. The 20-yard touchdown to Breece Hall. Bryson Tremaine had 2 back shoulder catches and one-on-ones. Just trying to, point out things that stood out during today's practice. Let me actually go towards the end. So Jaden Daniels was 4 of 7 for about 15 yards. Not a great day for Jaden Daniels outside of one-on-ones. Just didn't look like Jaden Daniels. And keep in mind, right, this is his first time going up against a different defense, a different look, a different scheme. But more importantly, it was a monsoon out there. It was wet, it was rainy, people were slipping and sliding, and things just weren't looking great. The Commanders' defense did start to pick it up later on in the practice, get some couple of PBUs, did get a couple of pressures on there that would be sacks. And then Daniels in another team portion was 3 of 4. So again, started off slow, came back at the end, had a couple of big time throws, probably his best look all day in that team drill. Bryson Tremaine got some first team reps alongside Zacchaeus. Let's see. So we had another good ball from Jaden Daniels. He had a out route to Terry McLaurin, came down with it. Really good ball on that one. Quincy Williams blew up a screenplay. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, guys, but I know you guys are very intrigued in hearing about what happened. And then again, towards the end of practice, Emmanuel Forbes 2 big PBUs on Garrett Wilson. I think that was pretty much it, though. I would say some big takeaways. Garrett Wilson looks like he's about to be a star. Tyrod Taylor, a really good backup quarterback, I would say. Starting offensive line for the Jets was really good in terms of opening up holes for the running backs. And the offense for the Commanders looked a little bit behind today. Didn't look amazing. In some portions they look good. CJ Mosley looked good for the Jets. He had a punch out on Zach Ertz. I'm really curious to see how this preseason game goes. I think Jaden Daniels needs to play a little bit. I think it will benefit him a ton. We did see some Jets 2-minute drill. We had, and this is how the plays went. So, shout out to Zach Rosenblatt for this one. He had incompletion to Lazard, incompletion to Lazard, Tyler Conklin for an 8-yard catch, 4th down, a short completion to Lazard for a 1st down, incomplete to Breece Hall, complete to Garrett Wilson for a short gain, and then a big-time completion on 4th down to Garrett Wilson to end the series there. But again, overall, I thought it was a really good practice for the Commanders. At Jane Daniels completion, incompletion, DJ Reed in coverage, Sauce Gardner locked down Terry McLaurin, who dropped the pass. Zach Ertz won a crazy ball over the middle for a 1st down. But according to some Jets media members, they say it's probably an offensive pass interference. And then just like that, driver's over. So that was pretty much it. Jaden Daniels finished the day 7 for 15, about maybe 25 yards max, so not great at all. A lot of dump downs, check downs, screen passes, pressures, right? So not a great practice for the Commanders, but again, in the rain, not great. I think there's lots of things to build on here. Big shout out to Olu, Will McDonald, Garrett Wilson, and Tyrod Taylor for the Jets. For the Commanders, I liked what I saw from a couple of different players. The O-line looked decent at times, but again, still a lot of work to do for them. Diami Brown, probably a big standout from today's practice. Bryson Tremaine looked pretty good in my eyes. Frankie Louvu, Dorrance Armstrong. So those are the biggest standouts from today, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next Jets Commanders update, which, again, will be live on Twitch for that game. Join the family, go follow the Twitch, link in the description, and I'll see you guys for the game. Peace.